How to sign up for your first track day. All right, I am nobody special. First and foremost, I'm just some random dude on YouTube. I am not a paid professional. I'm not a moto vlogger. I don't do anything crazy. I'm not sponsored. I don't have anything like that. I'm just a guy that really likes motorcycles. And I started signing up for track days a few years ago, and I got hooked. And for years prior, I was so scared of jumping into it because of all the things that I didn't have, or I thought, okay, I couldn't do this or that kind of stuff. And then I just signed up and I went for it, and it's been the best decision I ever did. So first and foremost, what you got to do is sign up. I know that sounds kind of silly, but the first thing you got to do is just sign up for a class. Find your local track day organization group and just sign up for a class. Now, if you're worried about getting some of the things that you might need, which we're going to talk about in a second, but if you're worried about some of the steps you're going to have to take, don't sign up for like the next one. Maybe do one or two out so it gives you time to get some things set up. But I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot easier than you think it is. So that's step one. Find your local track day organization group and just sign up. Now, when you are signing up, most track day organization groups will have what's called a new riders clinic. Prior to me going into track days, I had about 100,000 miles logged on sport bikes. I knew what I was doing. A lot of canyon carving stuff, a lot of that. But I didn't know how to go on a racetrack, which is the second biggest thing that I hear when people say they're not ready for it. So I signed up for the C group, which was like our slowest group. But in that, you have this new riders clinic, which the first half of the day you're working with a coach and they tell you how to get on the racetrack. They tell you how to get off. They tell you what the cones mean. They tell you what the flags mean. They tell you what all this stuff is that you're going to need to know what to do, and they tell you all that stuff. And I was so glad I did that. I knew how to turn a motorcycle. I knew how to ride a motorcycle. I knew everything about the motorcycle, but I didn't know how to get on and off. I didn't know what the flags meant, and they tell you all that stuff in that group. The second thing that I hear a lot of is, I don't have the safety gear for it. I don't have a one-piece suit like that's back there. When I first started, I just had a leather Alpine Star normal riding jacket, and it had a 3/4 zip, and I picked up just a set of pants, a set of Alpine Star leather pants that had the 3/4 zip. Most organizations will allow you to wear that, and that got me out there. The next thing you're going to need are boots, which I bought a set of Alpine Star boots. And then I still use a set of, these are cheap Alpine Star SP1 gloves. These are affordable. These are not like $400 gloves. These are the ones I still use. So you're going to need a set of full gauntlet style gloves along with the boots. And most of that stuff you can find on Facebook Marketplace. You can find it on OfferUp. You don't need to spend brand new money on a lot of that stuff, especially if you're going to figure out if you like it or not. So buy some used stuff, especially when you're also looking on Facebook Marketplace, you might not know what size you need for that, right? Because I'm in the US, those really don't come in US sizes. So if you're talking to somebody, ask them how tall they are. Ask them how big they are, their height, all that stuff. And if you're finding somebody relatively close to your size, well, then you can get that for like a fraction of the price of what those cost new. So keep that in mind, but ask the person. It's going to sound kind of weird, but ask them how big they are, that kind of stuff. So you got safety gear covered. And again, if you don't have that stuff, you can generally rent it from that track day organization group. So even if you just own a helmet and gloves and you have a set of boots, but you don't have the suit yet, they'll allow you to rent suits. So again, go sign up, and then when you're looking through there, see if they can rent it versus you going in and buying it right away. Some people don't want to do that. You want to own all your stuff, but it'll allow you to test it out. So once you get your safety gear figured out, because that's going to be the big thing, that's going to allow you to actually get out there. Your motorcycle's got to pass tech. So in the morning, right before or after, depending on the organization, they'll have a tech inspection So people are going to look at your motorcycle and make sure it's fit to go onto a racetrack. You're probably going to want a new set of tires. You don't need slicks, you don't need tire warmers, you don't need any of that. I run a set of Q5 DOT tires. I've been doing this a while and I'm still on DOT tires, okay? Tire pressures and stuff are things they'll talk about there, but it's just a nice set of sticky tires are fine. But I had a buddy just do a first track day on a 750 on a set of Road 5s, which is like a sport touring tire. It was perfectly fine. So you don't need the fanciest tire that's out there. As long as you got a set of tires that aren't completely worn out and bald and they pass through tech, you're going to be fine. You just need to go make sure you do a lap or two to get some heat cycles and that before you start playing with the bike. And again, if it's your first day, you're going to go through the Riders Clinic. In your first session or two, you are going to be able to jog around that racetrack faster than your first couple of turns. They build up the speed gradually. So don't think you're just going out there and you're going super fast. They build your speed. A couple other things. Obviously, you got to make sure the bike is safe, right? So like nothing's falling off your motorcycle. Everything is fine. Your throttle returns to close under its own pressure. Your fork seals aren't linking, that kind of stuff. Make sure your bike is safe. It's all things you should be doing every time you get on your motorcycle on a street ride. It's the same thing when you go out there. Just make sure your bike is safe. That's all you got to do. Here are a couple more kind of pro tips, not even pro tips, just stuff you're going to find out that you're going to need on the first day to make your day a lot more enjoyable. First, water. You should be drinking water, a lot of it, 2-3 days prior. You want to make sure you're fully hydrated. Second, you're going to want to bring kind of, some food and stuff with you out there so you have something to eat. Though you're not doing all this on an empty stomach, but don't eat a 5-course meal right before you walk out there. Kind of ease into it throughout the day. A couple more actual items that you're going to want to bring out there with you is going to be some kind of shade, like a pop-up easy up tent, something like that. But if you put a tent up, you need to make sure you bring your weights. So if you have a tent that has weights on the bottom, awesome. If you ratchet strap it to your cooler and your gas can, which you're going to need a gas can for extra fuel for your motorcycle, because you're going to go through a full tank. So make sure you bring extra fuel. But you need to be able to tie your tent down, because when you go out on the racetrack, nobody's watching your tent. So if a big wind gust comes through and it pulls, goes through the whole pit, you got to make sure it's secure. So you got your safety gear, your bike's good, you're signed up. Next thing is talk to people. The motorcycle community at a track day organization are some of the nicest people you're going to run into. They're helpful, they're friendly, they're just as excited as you are. So go talk to people. And if you have questions, ask questions. There's going to be a rotten egg in there every once in a while, but that group is some of the most excited individuals, the most helping people that you're going to run into. They're going to want to help you out. They're going to want to show you how to get on and off the racetrack. They're going to want to show you the lines of which you take through there. They're going to want to tell you how to load and unload your motorcycle properly, or what else you need to bring that I just forgotten to talk about. But talk to people. Ask the questions. Ask the people that are running it. They're going to want to help you with all that. So you don't need the fanciest thing. You don't need a R1 with all the fancy bits on it. You can go on a GSX-S 750 and have a blast, or a CF Moto 450S. I wish I would have signed up back when I had my R6. But I chose to start on a ZX-10 and then I went to this R1, and I really wish I would have started years prior, because I'd be having a lot more fun quicker. So just go do it, have fun, be safe, bring the couple things that I just told you about, and have a blast. Have a good day. Ride safe.